Introducing LT Defense Tactical Gear, your ultimate solution for top-notch protection and performance in the field. Our armor bundles provide unmatched safety and comfort, while our battle belts and holsters ensure quick and easy access to your gear. Stay prepared for any situation with our high-quality medical supplies, designed to keep you ready for action at all times. Looking to enhance your skills? Our firearms training programs will take your proficiency to the next level. Trust LT Defense for all your tactical gear needs and gear up for success on the battlefield.
Hello friends, I'm Kent Skelton and I'm so glad you are here. Together, we can battle this struggle and find freedom from it all. Life is continuous, and it would be ridiculous to say that you or I don't experience those seconds, minutes, hours, or days that seem like they'll never end. Time continues, regardless of how we feel or what we experience. We search longingly for a way to handle and navigate through these situations we are experiencing. There has to be a way. Indeed, I can find the solution to eliminate these negative experiences and periods of despair I am feeling. Maybe it's not our problems but those of family members or loved ones living in pain. These pains may come from alcoholism, addictions, illness, grief, boredom, and so many other forms. What will we do? Where is that light I'm supposed to be able to see at the end of the tunnel? When will I see it? When will this end? The timing to realize you need help is up to each of us. That's you, that's me. We are each individually accountable for ourselves. We have to make the change, and the timing is now. There's no time like the present to desire and begin that road to recovery. Together, let's reach that freedom from struggle.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Make it clear that the views expressed by our host are not considered the official stance of NBR views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hello, podcast world. Red Skelton with you, and I got Bill Crow as a guest, and we're sitting here around Red's Round Table and gonna just try to share with you some today about freedom from struggle. We got so many people that we know are struggling with all types of different hurts, habits, and hang-ups. I belong to First Baptist Church Biloxi here in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I'm part of a Celebrate Recovery group where I'm one of the male leaders. And we have a great group. But you too can find this Celebrate Recovery all around the nation and probably other parts of the world. You can download a CR app from your phone, iPhone, whatever type of phone you got, and download the app, and it can tell you a lot of the things that it might share right here. Plus, it can tell you of a meeting location near you. And if there's AA, there's NA, there's all types of avenues that you can look to for help. When might be in those times of despair, you have a loved one that you know of that might really need some serious medical help also. But today we're here. We're not here to heal anybody. Bill, you're not here to heal anybody, are you?
I couldn't if I wanted to.
I know, but I tell you what, we got someone that we believe in. We're brothers, and we're brothers in arms and brothers in Christ, and hopefully we can be here today and somebody might be able to hear something that might help them out, in the life and some type of problem you might be having. We're simply an ear to hear and a shoulder to lean on, at those times. But we're together. We're going to be talking about the things that we've experienced throughout our lifetimes, throughout our careers, And I just want to throw in something real quick that my lights just disappeared, right? So you're going to have to lose a little light. I don't know what happened on that. Maybe we'll be able to fix it on a commercial break. We've also got James with us, and I'm going to add him to the mix too. James, I hope you're ready. We're going to bring you on here. James, how you doing, sir?
Pretty good, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, great. We're great to have you here. Let's just starting to introduce ourselves. We're glad you're able to join in. Bill, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? That type stuff.
Well, I was born in Missouri, which is where I live now. I live in Jefferson City, Missouri, which is the capital of the state. And I was born in this state. I was raised by a Southern Baptist preacher. And I don't know, that's either a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your opinion of being a PK. But so I moved back and forth between Missouri and Arkansas growing up, and then discovered the love of my life there in Missouri. And we ended up getting married, and we didn't have two nickels to rub together. And eventually I joined the Air Force, and the rest of that, as they say, can be history. As I spent 30 years in the Air Force, it was a great experience. Got to spend some time halfway around the world and back. But in the process of that, the Lord also called me into the ministry. And so I was able to pastor a couple of churches along the way, and eventually found ministry in the military, not as a chaplain, but just in my day-to-day life and just getting to know people and talking with them. And so I retired from the Air Force back in 2010 and worked in the corporate world for several years and found my way back to Missouri about almost 4 years ago. So that's where I'm at right now.
All right, Bill, I appreciate it. Yeah, I was able to meet Bill. I was fortunate enough to meet him way back in the day. Way back in the day it was wow. It was like 1986, 87, 88, that time frame. And he was one of those guys, we were air traffic controllers together, and he's one of those guys that tried to help mold me or get my foundation started in the Air Force and in air traffic control. And they did as well as they could. They just didn't have a lot to work with. Okay. But I was sitting here thinking about, hey, who can get with somebody that knows something about Hertz habits and hangups? Well, I'll tell you what, Bill would have to be the last person to cross my mind, because Bill, you always seem to be that walking testimony as we were going along, compared to a lot of us other guys. And that was admired. It was definitely admired. And I'm just thankful you made. Yeah, I say this guy went all the way, and he did. He went all the way, 30 years serving our country, the United States Air Force. That's just awesome. Listen, we're here on Military Broadcast Radio, giving veterans a voice. And I got Bill, and we have James. James had to slip off for just a second. He'll be back with us. And look, today I just want to talk about things that might have troubled us over the years. I've said it before here on my side, but my biggest thing, I've suffered with mental health issues and just pain in general for so many parts of the body. But alcoholism, and anxiety, depression, and but I'm recovering from all of that. I am a recovering alcoholic, almost 30 years sober this November. And some people would find that hard to believe, as much as I used to pour them down. But I tell you what, and as I add James back into it, I'm sure both of our guests today, they were both senior NCOs, but they can both attest that throughout our long careers, 20 plus years in the military, whether it be Army, whether it be Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, it doesn't matter. First responders, even the general populace, if we didn't have anything wrong with ourselves, we saw things happening to other people or loved ones. It could be somebody that lives right there in our own home. And some of them can be very tragic. I know that I've lost some loved ones from the service, and I hate to know that, but people, we need to speak up. We need to be observant and know when people are troubled. But always, just like I said, this show's about, offering an ear to hear and a shoulder to lean on at any time. We're not doctors. We can't heal anybody. But all three of us, this trio right here, this band of brothers right here, knows somebody that can, okay? And he'll work right from it within you. And, man, talk about providing some hope. It is just amazing. I just want to pray, Bill and James, that that somebody today is truly touched by what's shared, some of the things that have worked for us, possibly some scripture that I might read from the 12 steps, some biblical comparison to the actual steps. This is a faith-based group and a recovery program. And just like, hey, if one person's touched, that's just wonderful. If one seed is planted, that's awesome. I'm sure you see Bill's name. You can contact any of us through MBR, Military Broadcast Radio, or you can contact us Facebook, different ways you might be able to see us, even in the comments right here. If you need prayer, if you need any help, you'd like to talk to somebody more about just about life in general, maybe something that you have that you just want to be able to share with at least one other person. I guarantee you, I speak for the three of us. I believe we're all available and willing to share what's helped in our lives. And I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. And that's all I got to say about that. But no, that's not quite all I got to say about it. James, Bill already introduced himself, told him a little bit about where he's from and what he's been doing. What about yourself? You like to share?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. James Merchant here. I'm new to MBR, just became part of the family here about a week ago. Very thankful for the resources that they're providing. It's pretty impressive, to be honest. Let's see. I live in North Carolina right now in Fayetteville. Just retired from the military after 22 years active duty Army. And we found married. I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. My son just graduated of 18 years old. So happy about that. And originally I'm from Texas. That's where I was born and raised. And so now that I'm retired, I'm just, sorry about that. Just spending my time here, enjoying retirement and just looking to see what this new season of life is going to bring me. It's actually been pretty good so far.
All right. That's awesome. And you say you're a whole week old with Military Broadcast Radio. Dude, I remember that first week or two or month or year. I'm still in it and still in several of the months, but several of the years. But I tell you what, the Military Broadcast Radio has brought therapy for myself. It's given me the platform, the opportunity to be able to share some of the things that have helped me through my lifetime and through my struggles, and just hope that it provides that freedom for somebody else. Right after we come back from the break, Military Broadcast Radio, where it gives veterans a voice, like myself, like James, who's going to be soon, and even Bill, because he's on here on the show with us. It welcomes any veterans at any time you want to possibly get involved. You can contact MBR, and you'll find out. It's I tell you what, I think you said we have 95 or over 100 veterans that operate with Military Broadcast Radio, whether it be in a DJ capacity, whether it be actual host or co-host on podcast. It's an amazing thing. I love it. It's given this veteran a voice. I've always been the mouth of the South. Several people can attest to that. But the big thing is we got to give them a lot of thanks and a big hand clap, because they're taking care of us. And hopefully a lot of veterans on the outside are able to hear the broadcasts that are provided by MBR on, 15, 18 platforms. You can catch them live. You can catch the recordings. But right now, we have to hear a word from our sponsors, and y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back with James and Bill, and we'll talk a little bit about Celebrate Recovery and those biblical 12 steps and their comparisons here momentarily.
gets the job done. Finding the peace in all the crazy. Will it save me? Now I am strong enough. I strapped on that guitar and got the job done. Finally found the peace in all the crazy. This guitar saves me. Now I'm strong enough.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hey again, Bill. You thought you'd gotten rid of me, but I'm back. Hello, and glad you're still with us. And James is coming back on about right now and joining us. And we appreciate y'all just taking the time to hear a little bit about the what helps and supports MBR, Military Broadcast Radio. Go ahead and download it on Facebook. Download the app, MBR, Military Broadcast Radio app on your iPhone or what's the other type of phone? I want to say it. I know there's several.
Android.
Yeah, the Androids. I can't ever remember those futuristic type names, those androids. I can remember aliens and stuff like that, but not androids, But anyway, we're back with you. I want to just take the moment to say a couple things about the three I say ums. I want everybody in the comments, wherever you want to, keep a tab on that. I'm trying not to use so many ums and ahs and buts and wheels, but there's a but it comes back, keeps coming back. Look, the first step we use in the biblical type recovery program is the following. And I read this verbatim because they're not memorized, but it's just something that I do not want to take the chance of messing up on. The first one is that we admitted we were powerless over our addictions and compulsive behaviors, that our lives had become unmanageable. And there is a biblical reference to that. We find it several different verses, but here we use Romans 7:18. And as I know that nothing good lives in me, that is in my sinful nature, for I have the desire to do what's good, but I cannot carry it out. Number 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. The biblical comparison, Philippians 2:13, for it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his good purpose. Finally, number three is where we make a decision to turn our lives and our wills over to the care of God. Romans 12:1, therefore I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. I tell you what, that's one of my go-to verses there. I'll say sports fans, but podcast listeners, we're thankful for each and every one of y'all that are here. We're thankful for the likes you give us. We're thankful for the shares that hopefully you'll be willing to share so others can possibly get something out of the show, get something out of one of our guests that they might hear, and just to know more about what we're doing here on Freedom from Struggle. Bill, coming back to you. You had mentioned you went through the Air Force, 30-year career from Missouri, from the Show Me State. You're back there in the Show Me State. You're a bivocational pastor through the years, and you've been called to ministry. PK, Preacher's Kids. I'd forgotten about that, but I do recall that now.
Don't hold that against me, man.
A great thing, okay? My father also was very spiritual, and he never did really go in the ministry wholeheartedly, but he taught classes, and as he's gotten older, he's been very involved with the church and sharing Christ with other people, and I think I got that a lot from my mom and dad, despite them not being full-fledged pastors. So I'm a CK, I'm Christian's kids, I'm a Christian kid, but I have definitely claimed to be a child of God, one of God's children, and I'm fortunate to know both of you guys. I just met James earlier today. James, man, I'm glad I met you, partner. And Bill,
Likewise.
I've known you near about. Hey, I can say this. You might not be able to say this because, you know, I think you're in your 60s or something like that. I'm not in my 60s, okay? But knowing you back from 2006, 1986, 87, 88, that time frame, man, you know, that was a lot of years ago, almost 35, 38 years ago. Easy.
Yeah.
No, that's coming up on more than that even.
That's
But
a
look,
long time.
yeah, coming up on 40, okay, 35 years. That's a long time. That's over half of my life, if you will.
Yeah.
I've known you, man. Look, I want to hear more about you. What you got to share with us?
Well, I tell you, it's a lot of water under that bridge. Those 40 years or so. You know, you talked to me a little bit earlier about our time together down in Florida, and you know, it was kind of like it was an ornery bunch down there, and you know, they talk about herding cats. It was a lot like that, and it was a busy place, busy time, but it'll wear on you mentally. But it was good times. And then I think I met up with you once when you were at the schoolhouse down in Biloxi. I think maybe even after you retired. But,
it was. I was civilian then.
Yeah, and so good times there. But yeah, so we've got that common core of experience. You know, you talk about celebrating recovery and all the 12 steps. One of them, when I pastored a church out in Arizona, we had a Celebrate Recovery program in our church there. Okay. And we had several people coming through, some with drug addictions, some with alcohol addictions. We had a big problem, mostly with drugs, even more than alcohol. But the principle is the same. You know, you recognize your problem. You step up to the plate and say, you know, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of hurting people. I'm tired of hurting myself. And you commit yourself to the power of the Lord to help you through those times. And it's so important that we take that very first step, and that is admitting that you have a problem. And I've seen it through the years, people that have really struggled and they're like, well, you know, I like my alcohol. I like my drug. And it's not just a chemical drug. There's addictions to all kinds of other things, you know, whether it be pornography or maybe you have an addiction to fast cars and fast women. I don't know what your addiction is, but these steps can touch on all of them. And so I've got nothing but good, positive things. I've seen some people turn their lives completely around using these steps through Celebrate Recovery.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate you sharing that. And as I look at these 3 steps, I mean, you actually say or come out that you've got a problem. You come out of denial. You're realizing you can't do it for yourself. It's going to take somebody else's help, that you can't do it alone. But with the 3rd step, you know, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy, you know, willing and to be Christ-like, to give your life to Christ, to ask Christ to come in your life, and you become. And actually, those first 3 steps, it's easy. You almost become a Christian, you know, you've changed your ways. You start repenting and asking for forgiveness. You go all the way out with improving our lives. Okay. It cannot. Okay. Things happen, but this is one of the best and most glorious ways to come from, to get over an addiction, that hang up or that hurt that you might have. With myself, with alcoholism, boy, it's tough. I denied it. I didn't realize I had a problem. I even thought I was being a good Christian. You know, I'd be sitting there at the bar. You know, I had no problem talking about the Lord. And I didn't realize the actual witness that I was really portraying to these friends and stuff like that. I call friends, they're close friends. Some of them, at least while you're drinking, wasn't drinking, all of a sudden didn't have anything to do with you. But that's just a whole nother bag of animals. I do know that I've come into many people over the years, starting in Eglin, starting even before that. But until I was in the Azores when I actually let it go. And when I let that go, that's where I didn't lose my family, didn't lose my life, didn't lose my job as an air traffic controller. I didn't lose my job in the Air Force. And then, man, I'm still up here kicking around 30-something years later, almost 40 years later, doing what I love to do, you know, and kind of living with that purpose. When I say living with a purpose, I wanted to go back real quick. Celebrate Recovery. I mentioned I'm part of it in First Baptist Church, Biloxi. You mentioned it. I believe you said that was in Arizona when you had first experienced it or heard about it. Now, this came from a church in California. Rick Warren's, I think, is that Saddleback Church or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it came out in the 90s, in the mid 90s. And listen, James, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Celebrate Recovery, but millions of people have participated in Celebrate Recovery and realized seeing their problems, their addictions, their hurts and the hang-ups in the rearview mirror. Like some of those bases you might have left sometime along the career. You know, just better left seeing it in the rearview mirror, you know. I heard that from several different places. I loved everyone I was at. I was blessed to be where I'm at. But James, you got anything to share with us right off the bat, kind of along these same lines that Bill was speaking about?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You're the first person that I've actually heard of, telling me about Celebrate Recovery. Okay. I think these programs are wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. One of the jobs I had when I was in the military was I worked for a Wounded Warrior battalion, which was basically part of like the Wounded Warrior Project. And that was one of the things we would see often was soldiers with heroin addictions, drug addictions, and they came to us just, man, beat up. And so I would take them to, while it wasn't the program you mentioned, Celebrate Recovery, I had to escort soldiers to AA meetings. But I used that to kind of segue and say that, and we were talking earlier, one of the things that we have going on at my church here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, is we have a men's group that urges men, kind of like a premature thing before you get to AA, before it gets to that level, encourage men to open up, teach men how to actually begin to, release the things, because a common thread amongst men is that, we're kind of taught and groomed in that way to be stoic, closed off, not to talk about our problems, that we have to shoulder it all on our own. And that's so far away from the truth. I mean, and from a spiritual aspect, it's just a lie of the enemy. And so if I can offer anything to contribute to this program today, is just to encourage men to be willing to open up. You don't have to carry it all on your own. The load is way too heavy.
Way too heavy. And that's the truth. And guys, and I would say this about a lot of the ladies in the military, guys in general, but a lot of the ladies in the military, you're held up to such a high standard, because we're not all followers all the time. Even as, shortly after we first come in the service, we're not followers. We're leading somebody. We're being a witness for somebody. Somebody is watching me. Somebody's watching you. And so, like what the general said, we're always on parade. You know what I mean? We're always ambassadors for the military. But so many of the men and women were just completely. You got to hold your pride. You can't let people know you're hurting. Hey man, when going gets tough, the tough get going. I don't want to hear none of that. I mentioned with Bill a while ago that a lot of the things we used to say, and especially at air traffic control field when we were first learning to do it, there were people that actually broke down crying. What you got from above was, if you got issues, we got tissues. I don't know how many career fields might have seen that, but it was tough. We didn't have no time for the baby stuff. But man, grown men do cry. Grown women do cry. And there's nothing wrong with it at their appropriate times. I mean, if you're hurting, you're hurting. You got to come out of it. Look, gentlemen, we're going to come back here in just a few minutes. We got to take a station break again. Got to hear from our sponsors. We'll hear a little, hopefully, a little good music too. And let's go check it out.
I'll be strong enough as I strap on this guitar, it gets the job done. Finding the peace in all the crazy, will it save me? Now I am strong enough, I strapped on that guitar and got the job done. Finally found the peace in all the crazy. This guitar saves me. Now I'm strong enough.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Boy, I could just let loose and talk about all kind of stuff, but don't nobody hold harmless, man. I don't stand for the station. I stand for Red Skelton. No, I stand up for my Lord Jesus Christ, and I'm just thankful of once again to be here. We've had several people make comments of things that they might have been recovering from or experienced a release from, and I know I've talked to them individually and know where that's coming from. We have several shows that have been on the also people that have popped in and said something to me via text or whatever. But I want everybody to remember the Smile Show and Love Letters from God. There's so many different shows that come on Into the Weeds, and there's a lot of special things we get to see on MBR. But this right here is Freedom from Struggle from Red's Roundtable. We were talking about being tough and not being silent. And with the Sunday school class that James was involved with, he was saying that those people need to go ahead and open up and learn that we do not have to keep things bottled up inside of us. And I know it goes for men and women alike. I know it goes for people that are in the military. There's veterans and first responders, and even people in the civilian world, the civilian populace, those patriots. We have these Americans, and it can even go even farther than America. Obviously, it's a global thing, but everybody, we have to do better. We got to help each other, love each other, and always caring for one another and loving thy neighbor as thyself. Bill, you got anything else you want to share? Any thoughts that just come right off the tip of your head?
Well, yeah, I noticed that Kara mentioned that she's was in security forces. One thing I didn't mention is my first 6 years in the Air Force, I was security forces. And back in the day, I came in 1979, and that's probably older than some of the people listening to this conversation. But, when I was in security police, as we called it in those days, I was on the security side. We didn't have any females in that part of the career field. They were only in the law enforcement side. And so when they started making that transition to bring the ladies on board, there was some struggle with that. And, you talk about the machismo, if you will, and guys don't cry and guys don't show their emotions. And I tell you, it was a learning experience for me when I transitioned into air traffic control and there were ladies on our team. It was a bit of a mental transition for me because I'd never had to work with the ladies before. And I think I probably struggled a little bit with that, admittedly, but I think I've overcome that, if that's a recovery process, to overcome my trepidations on those kinds of things. But one thing that my wife said that attracted her to me when we first started dating was I was not afraid to share my emotions. And it is tough for some guys being brought up in a world where you're supposed to tough it out and you're supposed to be able to overcome just whatever. And then you start moving into problem areas like whether it's alcohol, drugs, whatever addiction that you're talking about. And it's important that you're willing to open up to the point where you may get emotional. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. In fact, it's a stress reliever. When you allow that to build up inside you and you don't let it out, it creates stress, and stress creates health problems, not just the mental, but the physical. And so it's important that you be able to share with that. And along with that, one of the things that comes to mind is accountability. I had a friend of mine that had an issue where he needed an accountability partner, and he called and talked to me for a long time. He said, I'm in this program where they're encouraging us to have someone that we can talk to one-on-one. We can be honest, we can be open, we can share our deepest feelings and not be judged for it. But that you will help us to be accountable for our behavior and our actions. And so I agreed to be his accountability partner. We were separated by a long ways. I was in Arizona and he was in Florida. So we had a lot of distance. But boy, let me tell you, we had a lot of good conversations over the phone. He would share, what his struggles were. We would pray together on the phone. I would encourage him. And we strengthened each other. It wasn't just about him. His ability to come forward and talk about the difficulties that he was going through helped me be a better person, I believe. So it kind of works both ways in that way. So I would encourage anybody that's struggling in any form or fashion to find somebody they can trust, somebody that's not going to go out there and gossip all over the place, but that's willing to pray with you, to be your partner in accountability and be honest. There were times when I told my accountability partner, I said, dude, you're messing up, and be honest, be straight up with them. You can't do that sort of thing. And that's the whole idea, is somebody that can keep you honest, keep you straight, and do it with a good, godly relationship. And I will say too, it makes a difference about the gender, in my opinion. You don't want, as a woman, your accountability partner, unless it's your spouse, you don't want to run out and have a guy as your accountability partner if you're in a committed relationship otherwise, and vice versa. As a married man, I need to stay away from the ladies. I don't need a woman as my accountability partner. So make sure you know where to draw that line, but accountability is real important.
That's so true, Bill, and I appreciate you sharing that. And as I remember being back at Eglin, we did. You talk about the ladies that were in the facility. I tell you what, we had some ladies that could really move some jets. I know they could work circles around. Of course, they were working around me. I was in training, but even as I came to become a little bit better, we learned so much from each other, right? And we had to share with each other how to get the mission done. And oh wow, when you just mentioned that, I'm remembering the different ladies, the Lazanskis, the Halls, the Donahues, and the different ladies that I remember being on the crew. And it's kind of a nice little flashback, and being appreciative of the things that they shared, and whether it be training, learning the actual ropes on ATC or in the military in general. But also with James had mentioned the heroin, different drug use, or was that you that might have mentioned that? But anyway, there was drug use. I never really imagined there would have been any drug use in the military. It was mainly the alcohol and type stuff, or just I guess being wild, being unruly, being a rebel, and that type of thing. Unfortunately, I know I can think of now a couple guys that we've known, at least one in particular, that had an overdose, and what eventually led to his demise. And that's so sad. I miss the guy regularly. Used to talk to him a lot, but I sure wish I'd have talked to him more now. learning more, getting a little bit more mature. My mother-in-law still can't wait till the day I mature, but heck, I ain't even in my 60s yet. I got a little time. But look here. Mentioning that the spot, having a buddy, the military, we always said you got to have a buddy. You got to have, don't go at something alone. You're going to have somebody with you. We're a team, using the buddy system when you're traveling, when you're moving around, everything else. As I'm a travel agent, I urge people to travel with somebody else. It can travel alone, but you got to be careful. You got to make a friend there where you can wander around some of these other countries, some of these other states and cities you might visit. You've got to have somebody that's with you. Celebrate Recovery is the best that I've seen so far for myself, being a faith-based type of recovery program where it's a safe place for people to come to. And just like AA and other places, it's what you see here and here, let it stay here. Don't go running your mouth about it and stuff like that. But still, we need that accountability partner, like you were mentioning. And AA, Celebrate Recovery, we urge people to have sponsors. And obviously, the best sponsors you can have, well, Celebrate Recovery, it's going to be male and male, or it's going to be female and female, because we just can't interact the sexes. Too many people have relationships, and man, the devil would love to get at us in that way. And it is spiritual warfare out there, and it's not something you think could come up, but things can come up. That accountability partner, you gotta have that person to share with. Like we were saying, your long distance accountability with your friend. That sounds like it was marvelous. I mean, that's awesome. And luckily, of course, we had telephones ever since we've been running around, even for you back when you joined the security forces in the 70s. But anyway, I'm sorry. We didn't need smokes. We didn't need smokes. I like you. I like you, Chief. I like you, man. You're a good guy. Brother. I'm going to treat you like one. I ain't gonna come jump on your back or fight with you, but anyway, I have to put a couple digs in when I can. I'm running out of, I'm getting older. I ain't gonna be able to dig on anybody older than me for long. But
that's okay. You look older than I do, so that's okay.
Hey, I love it. I too have had people that I've been held accountable with, been able to talk to, and talk. I've got a dear friend right now. We can talk about anything together, and we can trust that it's not going to be mentioned past that little communication channel right there. That's it, And I guarantee you it makes us better people by being able to do it, because we do realize our faults, not just. Like your buddy, you're sitting there talking to your buddy, and it did you just as much good as possibly that it did him.
Sure.
And it's learning, all those things, learning. Kiara just popped in there. She was born after you and I were in the military.
10 years after I joined the military. So. Wow.
Well, look,
that makes me
I was born in 1964. Now, heck, I could be on the second generation of people coming through the military. People's grandchildren are in the military that are not grandchildren, but maybe, but definitely their children have come through the military and almost reaching retirement age from the military. It's kind of amazing. Time, it does fly, and it does change. Look, we're about ready for another station break. I love seeing the interaction we get from the comments. Appreciate it. And we will be back with you in just a few minutes. We're going to hear a little bit more from some of our sponsors and favorite singers. Here we go.
Too big, wanting to grow up way too quick, searching for spotlights since I was 6. Hello, my name is Dream Too Big. Hello, my name is way too loud. My voice can cut right through a crowd. Got made fun of for it, but who's laughing now? Hello, my name is way too loud. I know I've had my moments and I've had heartaches. God is making miracles out of my mistakes. You can say I won't make it, and I can tell you that I don't really care. 'Cause hello, my name is going somewhere. Far. Lost all my words in a mason jar. Locked eyes with a stranger at the end of the bar. Hello, my name is You'll Go Far. Well, hello, my name is One More Try. I put too much stock in bad advice. 'Cause anything worth leaving is worth loving twice. Getting knocked down. You're never gonna leave the ground. You can tell us all about it when you come back around. Hello, my name is Getting Knocked Down. Hello, my name is Stand Back Up. Keep moving even when it gets rough.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
And we're back here at Red's Roundtable, the Freedom from Struggle. And that was a longer song than I was thinking it was. I started to run take a shower real quick, but I decided I'd stay right here just in case it ended. And I didn't want you to leave you up here alone there, Bill. But yeah, we're down to the last segment. We've only got probably about 7 minutes left of the show. I want to just take this opportunity to thank everybody once again for being here. It means the world. Once you've got folks that are watching it live just on Facebook, just on Military Broadcast Radio, on Freedom from Struggle, I believe on my personal page, hopefully on YouTube today with MBR, and it'll be various other platforms later after this show's complete. The recording will be put on the other platforms for people to enjoy in the future. I urge you, and just as listeners, as people that have been with us, please share the show, whether you're watching it live, whether you're watching the recording. Go ahead and share it. Get people to like Military Broadcast Radio, where it gives veterans a voice. And listen, it's not about us. about helping vets. And just that's why I want to thank everybody for once again, like I said, being here. We got the last few minutes of the show going down. Bill, I always try to close out or towards the last segment, have a little prayer, and today I just want to. It's a prayer that works great for anyone that's in recovery, but I think it just it really, if folks will think about it, helps out with any issue there possibly is. And that's just the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now that goes further on, and one of these days maybe we'll say the last part of it, and when we can all say it together in unison. No, we won't. We don't require that, but I suggest you look up serenity prayer. The guys, I cannot remember his exact name, but that's used in Celebrate Recovery. We use it AA, the NA. We use it in so many areas. And it's just a wonderful prayer if we can be smart enough to realize those things that we have control over and the things we don't. But Bill, what else we got to say?
There is strength in numbers, and one of the things that I noticed that Kiara had said earlier was that the civilian world, if you've never been in the military, they don't typically get it. I mean, we have a camaraderie, that core of experience that the civilian world doesn't have. In the corporate world, you don't have the type of togetherness, I guess, that you do in the military, and that cuts across all the services. You know, I can tell you, it doesn't matter where I am, and I used to travel quite a bit with my job after I got out of after I retired, and I would run into somebody at the airport or at a meeting and find out they were in the Army or they were in the Navy or they were in the Coast Guard. It didn't make any difference. We instantly had a connection, and we understood each other. You know, we went through some tough times. We went through some joyful times. We went through some things that people will never understand. Things like mop gear. And, you know, if you've never had to spend hours on end in a gas mask, you probably don't understand. So I like the fact that this is a military group, that we are focusing on our military folks because they get us. They have some of the same struggles, obviously, that civilian folks do, but there's that element of camaraderie that just will not be broken as a bond. And so I think that's pretty cool that we have that experience, and we can relate in that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that you bring that up, just like with James. The first time I've ever talked to James was just earlier today, you know, and find out that we have so much in common, but we're brought together after a job that we both worked, we both retired from, but you don't even have to retire from it, right? I mean,
that's correct. That's correct.
Oh my goodness, I've been blessed just to be with the Air Force as many years as I was, and the country, you know, while we raised our hand, we wore that mop gear. I really liked it at Eglin where, you know, when they say gas mask on, I think we'd roll or put our sleeves down, and we're just in our simulated. Hey, we were doing air traffic control. We were a busy facility. We couldn't play these games all the time. But no other people. But we do have that bond between each of us, and it doesn't matter the services. Because I recall the first times at Eglin, you know, when there would be recalls and that, and you had no idea what the recall was about.
That's right.
I was way down at the bottom of the line. You know, I guarantee you, I had no idea what I was coming to when I went in there. And then to get called over to the fighter side, right? And well, all of a sudden we got duffel mobility bags and we're processing. I'm like, what the heck? What is this? You know, it can make a whole different world. But we know that our other brothers and sisters in arms have been through the same type of situations throughout their careers. And that doesn't matter if they served for 2 years stint, 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, or a career at 20 to 30 years like yourself. But
and I was gonna say, you know, I've seen a lot of people come and go over my career. The vast majority of people do not go to retirement. I mean, we got to think about that. You know, most come in for a few years and then they get out and they go on their merry way back into the civilian world. But every single one of them, when they were on their last day in my facilities, I would shake their hand and thank them for serving. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you did 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, 10, 20, 30. If you were an old dude like me that spent a large amount of time, it really doesn't matter. It's the fact that you were able to stand up and raise your right hand and protect your country in the best way you knew how and try to do your best at it. That's what I think. I'm very thankful for each and every one of you that has been a part of that. No matter if you were a ground pounder, if you were a flyer, if you were in the chair force, as I'm constantly being teased, it doesn't matter. Your service was helpful. It exemplified what matters in our core values, and God will bless you for your faithfulness.
I believe that wholeheartedly, and I know that a lot of us, and this includes military civilians alike, though we're in God's army, and we're in this fight together. We're in this love together. But we always do thank all our first responders and military for their service to the nation, to their communities, and it goes along, I believe, with teachers. And we all do our part. We all do our part. But there's a special camaraderie that you and I know from the military, and regardless of the time you serve, but if we meet each other, it's very likely we might know some of the same people, or we stomped some of the same ground, or we lived in some of the same countries for sure. And it's a beautiful thing, and I wish everybody could get that. And between the military and like I said, God's army, I pray that somebody today can find something positive to take away from the show. I know I certainly can. Because it's been a joy being here, meeting James today and learning a little bit about him. But hanging out with you, Bill, this is the most time we've hung out together since the 80s.
That's right.
And then we were signed on to positions next to each other. You know? So it's been a while. Of course, we have talked several times on the phone and all that. And but I appreciate you being my brother, no doubt about it. And
brother, I appreciate it. And
especially one of our top 1% of the Air Force, I guess, enlisted side, right?
Top 1%. That's what they say.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention too our families.
Gosh.
They're members of this military group too. They had different struggles. Sometimes they did it alone. While we were off doing whatever Uncle Sam wanted us to do. And so a shout out to the families as well.
Right. That's so true also. And I was like yourself, I was married prior to coming in the Air Force. Me and my wife decided to come in just thinking it'd be a great career move and it would work for our family and be able to care for our family. And it has proven so after having 3 kids. And now we got a little grandson running around. Of course, he's about grown. He's going to have a daggum driver's license in 4 or 5 years. But Bill, we done run out of time. I'm going to play this last. I'm going to play this
hour went by quick.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me. And you're welcome anytime.
Thank you, sir.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting NBR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at mbradio.us. That's Mike Bravo Radio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer even just an hour a week from your home. Help make a difference in the lives of our veterans, because once again, we're all here for you and not for us. We're giving our veterans a voice.